Alright, this isn't really a trading video, like I'm not placing any trades. This is more so just like psychology, checkup, mental journal, I guess. I kind of learned something, but it's more so just like feel like I'm grasping something. So the topic of it is patience. I haven't placed a trade in over 2 weeks, and I've been feeling like I'm failing as a trader, right? But I've realized over the last few days that that's okay, that I haven't placed a trade. Um, Two main things brought me to this conclusion. Obviously, you hear it everywhere. It's okay not to trade every day. I mean, ICT says just because it's called day trading doesn't mean it's everyday trading, right? And I feel like he does a good job about talking about that, but I don't think he does it enough because his trading style, he's executed on like the 1 minute, right? He always talks about like you once you get to the point where you're finding five handles a day, five handles a day, a day, a day, a day, you hear that, and it's like everyday trading. Even though he says, just because it's day trading, it's not everyday trading. That's true. So I feel like he doesn't go into depth enough, right? I feel like it's okay for me because I'm not even a profitable trader. It's okay to go through 2 weeks, you know what I mean, of not placing a trade. You see this in my head, this is just slop. Like this just doesn't look good. And then like these last few days, I mean, what is this? You know what I mean? We have a rejection off of taking a monthly low, nice wick to the upside, looking like we're gonna go lower, right? Continue with order flow. And then we have this giant wick inside candle. Like it's just disgusting. Which obviously this is why I'm not placing a trade today, right? Because giant wick to the upside, giant wick to the downside, inside candle, just not good. And we have interest rates coming out this week on Wednesday. Plus, we have Juneteenth bank holiday, right? And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like I need to place a trade. Like I need to do something. And what's making me think about this is I don't know how popular they are, but I mean they are definitely growing in popularity. But I watch a lot of the Phase boys like Stable Ronaldo, Jason Lewin, Lacey, Adapt, Silky, like they're Max, like I love watching them. They're super entertaining, and I just feel like they're always grinding. Like they always got stuff going on, even if it's not like seen right then. Like they have stuff in the works all the time. Like it's crazy. And even just like on Snapchat, I see a bunch of my friends from high school with their businesses or their jobs, and they're always doing something, and they're always moving or working, or they're doing. Like everybody's always doing something. And with trading, it's not like that, right? And we all know this. We've all heard this before. Like I feel like a broken record, right? And that's what most of the lessons in trading are. Is you have to repeatedly say them until they actually click, right? Because it's side note. Um, there's these tapes called "Your Versus Your Command" by Kevin Trudeau. There's some controversy around him just because it's all law of attraction, right? But I really love those tapes. There's a lot of good lessons to be learned in there. And one of the things that he says is you need to feed your brain every day, right? Just like you feed your body every day. Even if it's with the same information, you still need to feed your brain every day because when you learn a piece of information, you change as a person, right? So you absorb incoming information and knowledge differently than from before you absorb that last piece of knowledge, right? So every time you learn and you grow, you change the way you learn and grow. And the example he gave is Bruce Lee, right? Just throwing a punch. Every time you throw a punch, people look at it and there's like it's just a punch, but every time you throw a punch, you learn a little bit more by experiencing it and doing it, right? And I feel like it's the same thing with all the different lessons in trading, right? You need to continuously say it because there's levels to it, and there's depths to the different lessons that you need to learn, right? Whether it's risk management, patience, that's what I'm talking about here today is patience, emotional control, self-awareness, discipline, whatever it is, you need to repeatedly acknowledge and learn that information. So back to what I was saying with not placing a trade, it's okay, right? We've heard this before, but I feel like I'm actually grasping it now because, and this is the second thing that I wanted to talk about. I had a recent incident at work. I work at UPS. I work the local sort shift. It's just in a warehouse handling packages, throwing boxes around and stuff. But one of the higher ups came into work on Friday, and we had a slow night on Thursday because we had new zip codes, and the person that was sorting wasn't used to them, and the person I was unloading with was recovering from a medical thing, and I had just hit back day the day before too, so I'm not gonna lie, I was like it was just a rough night, right? And we did pretty slow, like we worked pretty slowly, and so they came in on Friday, and I have no problem like being told what to do for work. Like obviously it's not my favorite, but if I'm at work, like I'm working, so do this, unload this truck, help over here, whatever. I get it. But this higher up guy comes in and he starts telling us how to do our job, and right off the rip of the shift starts micromanaging us, and I just can't deal with that. So me and him get in not one but two animated conversations. I wouldn't say like yelling, but it definitely wasn't quiet, right? And I just told him how I felt, and it was just frustrating because I've been working at this job for coming up in literally a couple of weeks, 4 years, and he's talking to me like I don't know how to do my job, and it's just obviously that's gonna piss anybody off. Like that's just not okay. And when it's something as simple as like moving packages as well, it just feels so disrespectful, right? And I don't know if anybody listening to this has also worked at UPS, you know what I mean. Management is just management, but so that happens, and trust me, I'm staying on topic. I know I'm working on my talking, and I'm trying to be clear and concise and quick, and I don't know. I'm working on my talking, but that happens, and I'm frustrated. Obviously, right? Like emotionally, I'm like I was hot. My blood was hot. I was not chill. It was bad. So I just go through the shift, whatever. I'm annoyed, and I'm thinking after the second conversation, because we had two little arguments, and after the second one, I'm just going through the rest of my shift, and I'm just thinking like, man, like I wish I could just trade tonight. Like I literally remember thinking in my head, I wish I could trade tonight and just take a fat trade. Not even like take a fat trade, because I'm not even at that point anymore mentally where I'm like I want to over leverage. Like I don't want to over leverage. There's no use in me over leveraging, right? But I remember thinking like I just want to make fat withdrawal from prop firm account and just like show this guy, show up to work in the car that I don't know what car I want to get yet. Whether it's I'm torn between an Audi QS R8, I think it is, or an AMG GLE 63S, or a Trackhawk, the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Like I love SUVs, or the Durango build. The Durango build looks sick, but I'm a little bit taller. I'm 6'2", and I just feel more comfortable in SUVs. So, but I don't know. But anyways, I want to just like show up to work, like make this dude's yearly salary in one withdrawal. Show up to work, put in my 2 weeks, rev my engine like crazy, and just like peel out of the park. You know what I mean? Like just the classic. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't need your job. You're gonna be stuck working. It's really bad to think, but I was heated, and I just hated this guy, right? So it's what I was thinking, to be honest. And obviously, it's not good to think that, but that's what I was thinking at the time. And I'm just thinking about that, and I'm just like, man, I just want to trade. I just want to trade tonight. And I came to that acknowledgement, in about Monday, right, which is today. I know it says the 17th, but I worked. You get what I'm saying? I worked Monday, 16th today for me, and I went through the weekend. And I was chilling, spent time with my family, played games, forgot about it, and then today it just kind of resparked, and I made the connection between what I was first talking about how I haven't placed a trade in forever, and my emotional status at Friday during that whole incident. I realized I was like, it's fine that I'm not placing a trade in 2 weeks. I'm not a profitable trader. And I don't know if I finished my thought earlier, but this should be finishing my thought earlier about how I'm not a profitable trader. Like, there's no reason for me to be annoyed at the fact that I haven't placed a trade in 2 weeks. Like, that's completely normal. Like, if we look at the last 2 weeks, we had NFP, right? And then we had CPI, PPI, and especially with me trading London, this Monday was terrible. And then this week we have federal funds rate with U.S. dollar bank holiday. And I was just like, man, before the incident, I was like, man, I haven't been placing a trade. Like, and I was low-key talking negative to myself, which I need to stop doing. But I was like, dude, I need to make money. There's no reason for me not to be making money. I've been trading and like learning this stuff for 4 years. Granted, I was system hopping for the first two and it was just terrible. But anyways, I keep telling myself, I'm like, I need to make money. I need to make money. And I see all these people in my life and people that I watch, you know, like those phase boys I was talking about, like all these streamers and stuff. Like everybody's so active and they're doing stuff, but it depends on what industry you're in. And in our industry, you need to have crazy patience. It's okay that I haven't placed a trade, and I need to keep on acknowledging that and like, telling myself, because this slop is where I lose money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still up on my funded account. I took that last loss on the 4th here because I'm pretty sure this was, let's see, Monday, Thursday. Yeah, we took previous week's low, had a strong rejection, and then I was looking for the continuation into new day opening gap, right? Even though that was completely against order flow. But anyways, hindsight, right? Kind of lost track there. Okay, yeah, my ADHD is crazy, but I haven't taken a lot of damage as I usually do. And that's fine. Even though it feels bad because I'm not placing trades, I'm preserving capital, and that's what matters, right? Because the thing is that like I know my system, and everybody should know their system and have data that they've looked at in the past. Backtesting, going and seeing your system perform in the past and knowing what it does. With my system, I know that there's weeks where I'll have 2 or 3 days in 1 week where my system just hits and hits and hits. And I need to have the patience to sit through the consolidation and the sloppy price action to, or even if it's not sloppy price action, even if it's just me having a bad mental analysis, right? I need to be able to sit through that and just reset until it's so obvious and it's just jumping out at me, right? Until it's easy for me to trade. This trend is just so easy, but when it slows down like this is where I struggle. I think this is where most people struggle. And you have to realize that it makes sense logically. If I go 2 weeks without placing a trade, right? 0% gain, 0% loss. And then let's say the following week I have two days out of the week. This next week coming up, obviously besides Monday, but I usually don't trade Mondays because of my rule. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is looking amazing. Like there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to find a trade here, right? And I mean maybe even Friday of this week and maybe even Friday of this week, right? After the holiday, so long as Thursday comes off of a higher time frame PD array. But on a week like that, you know, I'm patient through these weeks, and then this week comes, maybe there's 2 trades in this week that I'll be able to find. And on average, I make 2% a trade, right? So if that's like 4% or 3.5% in a week, then that's good. Like that's fine. And even the next week, we have another bank holiday, but actually I haven't even looked at this week, so I don't know what we got here at NFP. Maybe I could find something on Monday. Maybe not, though, because it's the first 2 weeks of the month, right? So I know that the first 2 weeks of the month is just not the best for me. So we could sit through, okay, US dollar CPI, sit through these weeks and see what we have. Thursday looks terrible for London, I'm not going to lie. Tuesday, Wednesday, place trades there, look for something. And if I'm just patient enough, right, then my system will show itself, is my point. And even if it's not 3 days a week, maybe it's only 1 or 2 days a week and 1 or 2 weeks out of the month, if I only take that and I average 4 to 6% a month, that's actually good. And then that starts me thinking like, okay, I could do that, easily pass. If I can consistently do that and consistently have that patience, which is the important part for me, then I could get close to averaging like a new funded account passed every week, or not every week, sorry, every month, right? And if I want to, you know, I take because I'm on the $50,000 account right now, you know, past that, take profits. You know, let's say I get 4% on 50K, and that's 2K minus, you know, the profit splits, and then taxes, let's just say like 1,500, right? And then I can take 500 of that or less and put that into 2 more 100K accounts and have the monthly fees for that covered already for the next couple of months. And I can get past those 2 $100,000 accounts, and you know what I mean? Like it's just obvious on what you do at that point. The center of it all is patience. If I'm pushing my system when it's not going to thrive, during the, mainly the first 2 weeks of every month. And I have found trades in the first 2 weeks of every month before, but it's only been like one trade during the first 2 weeks. And I just wait for when I know it works and it rips well, then that dream building of, okay, I can, pass this account and then put profits aside for more accounts, then I could go to Apex and cop, $200,000 accounts, put it on a copy trader, and then be trading with 4 million plus capital. You know what I mean? Like, all that is actually possible. But what makes that possible is patience and executing your system when you know it works. So, like I said before, we've all heard this before, but I just feel like I'm actually having a true understanding and an actual grasp on this now. So I just had to talk it out and kind of have like a little mental session. So that's pretty much it.